Hello, welcome back. We're on to topic 1.4 in the chapter, which addresses the ethical standards for management accountants. Now, who sets these ethical standards? There's usually two predominant parties. One, the company at which you are employed. So if you're a staff accountant working at Google, that company already has its own policies and its own ethical clause, right, in terms of what to do if you find yourself in an ethical compromise, or just how to avoid ethical compromises. So each company will already have their own policy regarding ethical standards. But if your company doesn't, maybe it's very, very small, the IMA, we already talked about them, the Institute of Management Accountants, has their own statement of ethical professional practice. So in the absence of your company having one, go ahead and use the IMA's statement of ethical professional practice. It's a 2-page document that they have put out. I've also posted it to the module for your reference. And if you ever take ethics in accounting, you guys will cover this in a lot more detail. But basically, their statement says the different principles that all management accountants must abide by. And it's things such as being honest, being objective, being fair, and being responsible. And then after principles, it has its standards saying that all of its members must be competent. So that means you have to have the right amount of training for the role that you are in. So you must be competent. You must be confidential, since you are working with a very specific company. Confidential. You must perform your job with integrity. And you must have credibility. And I keep saying member because once you are an accountant, you can pay an annual fee to be part of this professional organization, and it gives you access to training and resources, things like that. So that's why I keep saying member. If you're an IMA member, these are your expected standards of conduct. But it's very, in their ethics guidebook, they even say that if you are not a paid member, if you're just engaged in the activity of management accounting, you're expected to behave in accordance with their guidelines. So first looking at your company guidelines, and then IMA's guidelines. So we said confidence, confidentiality, integrity, and credibility. Competency, we talked about having the necessary skills and training for the job that you're in. Confidentiality, keeping all that data confidential and not being careless with it. Acting with integrity, meaning that you don't have any actual conflicts of interest or perceived conflicts of interest, right? So if you're working with the company and one of its largest suppliers happens to be your sister, that could be a perceived conflict of interest, and you should take the steps necessary to separate yourself from doing business or working on that particular partner. And then finally, credibility, making sure that you communicate all of the information in a timely manner to the managers at your business that need that information. Now, so that addresses their principles, standards of conduct. Then they also have a step for resolving ethical situations. Resolving ethical situations. And again, the company might already have a process in place. Maybe they have a whistleblower hotline, for example, or a paper trail process that's set up for reporting anything that you consider to be an ethical situation. If you think your supervisor is falsifying invoices, something like that, they probably at your company already have a system for addressing that. Again, if they don't, if it's a really small company, it's a new company, the IMA is here to help you with their steps for resolving any ethical situations. Basically, they say first, you should discuss your concern with your immediate supervisor. If, however, you suspect that that supervisor is involved in this ethical situation, so if that supervisor is involved, proceed to the next level. highest level. So if you suspect your boss is involved in something unethical at the company, you can't really go to him to report him, so you would go one step above him. Okay, if that doesn't work, right, then the IMA offers free anonymous help through its helpline. So you can call them to get assistance with your specific question. And finally, contact an attorney if it's a really bad situation. Okay, and then they have their helpline. So I've posted the 2-page document in case you want to read through the principles, standards, or steps for ethical resolution in more detail. Okay, but it's good to know that you're not alone. So if you are an accountant at some private company and you're witnessing something that you think just is fishy, there are situations for you to go talk to your professional organization and get their point of view on it, which might be very helpful in terms of them pointing you to the right resources, just supporting you and letting you know that you're following the right path to report this behavior and that you're not alone. So that's what the IMA accomplishes through its ethics center.